G'day everybody. We quite often get asked how we set up our filtration and our plumbing system in the shop. So today is part one of a two-part series of how to set up a fish room the way we've done it. Right, so today we're going to talk about the central air filtration system. This isn't the first time I've set up a fish room like this, it's actually the second, and I've subsequently done it again since then. This method I have found by far the best. I know this is really noisy, but I'm going to show you the first step of how we've done the filtration. So basically it's a really big blower, it pushes the air from the blower into the shop. I'm actually standing on the toilet because it's the only room we've got in the shop is to have it going in the toilet, which is pretty unfortunate, but it is what it is. Right, so this is the blower. Goes to there, out there to there, and it's in a box on a stand up high. It's pretty simple really, just like a really big air pump that goes into a single fish tank. So if you didn't hear what I said out there because it was quite loud, the blower is essentially just one of these, but a lot bigger. Just like an air pump you'd run on a single filtered tank, just like that, but like I said, a heck of a lot bigger. So it runs through the walls to here, and we get it running along here, behind our stock. We also use the PVC pipe as a towel dryer, so it comes to this wall, and then through the wall, we have it out here. It works its way along, all the way along the wall, along the shop, until it stops there. Right, so I put all my PVC up, I screwed them up like that, pretty simple onto the wall with brackets, and then I went through and worked out where my aquariums were going to be. I drilled holes in them, and I just used the Bunnings garden irrigation, that's what I was looking for. The irrigation system, screwed these little bits into it. It was perfect size for my air line, and away we went. Every now and then one falls off, but it normally falls off because we bump it as opposed to it just falls off. So the PVC banks it up, goes into there, just runs its way down. Straight to here, straight to the aquarium. Okay, so once the line gets into the water, we just have it basically connect to a sponge filter. It's nice and easy, it's really good for sort of smaller tanks. I've used sponge filters on 800 litre tanks, the filters are a little bit bigger than this. Sponge filters are fantastic for biological filtration. Not the best for mechanical, but definitely really good for biological filtration. There's plenty of space in those filters for bio to build up. So it comes in straight to that, and that right there is what we are filtering every single tank in the shop on. Pretty easy really, just like that. Okay, so I guess the question is, why would you set up a fish room with a central air system like this and not use some other sort of filtration like internal filters or sumps on multiple tanks and stuff like that? So there's a couple of reasons we went down this track. First reason was I really wanted to be able to control if we had any disease outbreak, and running it this way means every single tank is its own individual system. There's no watershed, no contamination, something like that. So if I can see something that's going wrong in one tank, I can completely isolate that tank and all the rest of the tanks are fine. Whereas if I had it on a system with say 9 tanks in one bank, one tank goes wrong, that's the whole lot closed down. And as far as business goes, I just didn't think it was economical enough to run that risk. So another reason why we went with the full central system as opposed to individual filters is plain and simple, money. By the time you set up a single individual filter into every single tank, you're looking around maybe 7 to 20 watts per filter depending on the filter that you go with. It's 35 aquariums in here roughly, so what's that? At 10 to 100, 300 watts give or take. So maths right then. 10 at 10, it's 100 times 3 to make it 30, 300, close enough. And I know that air compressor is lower than that. So that was a big one. Again, it's running 24/7. Running 24/7, power just continues to bank up. So that was the main reason, well, one of the main reasons I went with running a central air system over anything else. So it might seem a bit daunting setting up a central air system like this, but I assure you it is really, really easy. The hardest part I had was trying to get the air compressor and the PVC to match up. About a week's running around and ringing up fitting shops and stuff like that. I got all the adapters that I needed and away you went. If I was setting up another fish room, I would definitely use this method, and for anybody else that is considering setting up a fish room, I would also encourage you doing that as well. Bear in mind it does have some limitations, but I think the limitations are outweighed by the benefits of it, so I'd definitely go with it if I was doing it again. So there's always going to be some negatives to setting up anything. Pros and cons, it just happens. One of the cons of setting up a central air system like this is the noise. I know on all the videos that I make when I'm in here, all I can hear is the bubbling away, and I really am sorry for that. I can't do anything about it other than turning the system off, which isn't going to happen. So that is definitely a negative of setting up a central air system. So one of the Debbie Downers of setting up a central air system is when you've got bigger fish like African cichlids, it's not actually that good for mechanical filtration, as you can see with it sort of just accumulating underneath. It's brilliant for biological filtration, but mechanical filtration for bigger fish and slightly bigger aquariums, not so flash. And saying that, I did have it running 800 litres with discus. I've had it 800 or so litres with Oscars and stuff like that. It just meant I had to be much more stringent on my water changes and my aquarium vacuuming. There's definitely a downside to it. Mechanical filtration is not that flash. Biological filtration is massive, and I think personally that it outweighs it. So there we have part one on how to set up a fish room the way that we've done it. We've just covered the air filtration system. It's really easy to do, it's cheap to set up, and it's efficient, and it works really well. If you've got any questions or any comments, please dump them down below. I'm more than happy to answer anything to do with anything, to be honest, but anything to do with this setup, no dramas at all answering questions. So part two of this is going to be on our water system, how that works and why we did that as well. If you're loving what we're doing, please subscribe to our channel and like the video, share the video and all that jazz. Alright guys, that's enough for this first one. I hope you enjoy the second one when it comes out. Have a good one guys, happy fish keeping and catch you later.